Hey everyone, and welcome to our deep dive on Varanasi. Looks like you've given us a really fascinating mix of material for this one. Everything from ancient Hindu scriptures to modern travel blogs. So we'll be exploring together why this city, also known as Kashi and Banaras, is so significant to multiple religions. And not just historically, but spiritually too. I mean, you might already know that Varanasi is one of the oldest continuously inhabited cities in the world. But did you know that it's also considered a gateway to liberation from the cycle of death and rebirth in Hinduism? And that's just the very tip of the iceberg.
What's so fascinating about Varanasi is that it isn't just old. It's a place where time almost seems to fold in on itself. History and myth and spirituality, they're all woven together in a way that's truly unique. You've probably heard the legend that the Hindu god Shiva himself founded Varanasi.
Right, and your notes mention that this isn't just some local tale.
Yeah.
But it's actually a belief rooted in Hindu cosmology. And it's reflected in texts like the Vedas and the Puranas. Those scriptures have shaped Indian thought for millennia. But even setting aside the idea of divine intervention, what really struck me from all your sources was just how undeniable Varanasi's historical footprint is.
Absolutely. One of your articles highlighted how Varanasi has been a vital crossroads for trade and education and culture for centuries, fostering this really dynamic exchange of ideas and goods. Because of its strategic location right there on the Ganges River.
It really paints this picture of Varanasi as just this incredible melting pot. It's like a microcosm of India itself, constantly evolving but always anchored in its traditions. I'm already imagining like bustling marketplaces and lively debates in these ancient schools, with pilgrims coming from all corners of the subcontinent. It's incredible to think that this has been happening in one spot for thousands of years.
It's that continuity, that unbroken chain linking the ancient past to the present. That makes Varanasi so special. It's not a frozen-in-time relic. It's a living, breathing testament to the enduring power of belief and human connection. And speaking of belief, one of the things you specifically wanted to understand was why Varanasi is so sacred to not just one, but three major religions: Hinduism, Buddhism, and Jainism.
Yeah, each faith seems to have its own story about Varanasi. Adding another layer to this spiritual tapestry, from what I gathered from your research, Hindus believe that dying in Varanasi grants liberation from the cycle of death and rebirth. We're talking moksha, the ultimate goal, right?
Exactly. And this belief stems from the very essence of Varanasi's connection to Shiva. He's not just any god. He's the destroyer of ignorance and the embodiment of cosmic consciousness. His presence is said to pervade the entire city, making it this potent site for spiritual transformation. You also highlighted the ritual of bathing in the Ganges at specific ghats.
Right. Your notes had a ton of detail about all the different ghats. But what stood out to me was that for Hindus, the Ganges is more than just a river. It's a goddess, Ganga, who descends from heaven to purify the earth.
Precisely. Bathing in her waters, especially in Varanasi, is believed to wash away sins and karmic burdens. You specifically mentioned Dashashwamedh Ghat in your notes. It's believed to be the site where Brahma, the creator god, performed a sacrifice of 10 horses. And today, it's known for the spectacular Ganga Aarti ceremony held every evening.
I bet that's an incredible experience. Hundreds of lamps illuminating the ghat, the air thick with incense, chants filling the air. Your travel blog sources described it as truly mesmerizing. Now, you also had a question about Manikarnika Ghat, and it seemed to have piqued your interest, perhaps because it's a bit more intense.
Yes. Manikarnika Ghat is where the cycle of life and death is most starkly visible. It's one of the holiest cremation ghats in Hinduism, believed to be the gateway to moksha for those cremated there, while Dashashwamedh Ghat is about celebration. Manikarnika is a place of intense emotions, both sorrow and hope intertwined.
It's fascinating how Varanasi can encompass both those extremes in such a powerful way. It's like this city holds space for the entire spectrum of human experience. But we've only talked about Hinduism so far. You also provided some fascinating sources about Buddhism's connection to Varanasi.
Right, although Varanasi itself isn't a major Buddhist pilgrimage site. Sarnath, just a few kilometers away, is incredibly important. It's where Gautama Buddha, after attaining enlightenment, gave his very first sermon, marking the beginning of Buddhism. Think about the impact of that moment, the ripple effect that spread throughout the world.
It's mind-blowing. So what's there to see in Sarnath today?
You'll find several key sites, each marking a different aspect of Buddha's teachings and life. The Dhammik Stupa, built by Emperor Ashoka, commemorates the spot where Buddha delivered his first sermon. Then there's the Mulaganda Kuti Vihar, a modern temple housing relics of the Buddha. And, of course, the Ashoka Pillar, a symbol of his patronage of Buddhism.
Sounds like Sarnath deserves its own deep dive someday. Now, what about Jainism? Your research mentioned a connection there as well.
Yes. Varanasi is believed to be the birthplace of Parshvanatha, the 23rd Tirthankara, a revered figure in Jainism. While it might not have the same level of prominence as Hinduism or Buddhism, it definitely adds another layer to the city's spiritual significance.
So we have this incredible city that's deeply sacred to three major religions, each with its own perspective and set of beliefs. It truly is a spiritual crossroads. But I think what's really exciting is that it's not all about temples and rituals. Varanasi is a living city with a vibrant culture that goes beyond religion. And that's what we'll explore next. It's easy to get lost in all the history and religious significance of Varanasi, but what really brings this city to life is its vibrant cultural heritage. You mentioned in your notes that Varanasi is renowned for its music, particularly Indian classical music. I'd love to hear more about that.
Absolutely. Varanasi is considered a cradle of this art form. Think about legendary figures like Pandit Ravi Shankar, the sitar maestro who introduced Indian music to the West, and Ustad Bismillah Khan, the Chennai virtuoso whose soulful melodies captivated audiences worldwide. Both of these iconic artists honed their craft in the very streets and ghats we've been discussing.
That's incredible. It adds another dimension to those bustling marketplaces and ancient schools we were picturing. It's like every corner of Varanasi is steeped in history and artistic expression. Your sources even mention that music is woven into everyday life there, from the chants of priests to impromptu street performances.
Exactly. And you're curious about Banaras Hindu University, right? It's known as BHU. It's a major center for art and culture and education, attracting students and scholars from all over India and the world. It's essentially a modern-day continuation of Varanasi's ancient tradition as a center of learning.
That's pretty amazing. But honestly, I'm also eager to hear about the festivals. What kind of celebrations can we expect in Varanasi?
Well, Varanasi is known for celebrating with unparalleled fervor. Diwali, the Festival of Lights, is truly spectacular there. Imagine the entire city illuminated with thousands of diyas, casting a golden glow upon the Ganges. One of your travel blogs described it as the entire city transforming into this giant, shimmering work of art.
That sounds absolutely breathtaking. And your notes mentioned Dev Deepawali, which happens a couple of weeks after Diwali. What's special about that?
Dev Deepawali is specifically dedicated to the gods and celebrated with even more grandeur. Picture this: the ghats, the temples, the rooftops, all bathed in the soft, flickering light of countless oil lamps. It's an image that truly stays with you.
Wow. Now we know Varanasi is a major pilgrimage site for Shiva devotees, so I'm guessing Mahashivratri is a pretty big deal there.
Absolutely. Mahashivratri, the night dedicated to Shiva, is one of the most important festivals in Varanasi. Devotees pack the temples, especially the Kashi Vishwanath Temple, offering prayers, chanting hymns, and observing fasts. It's a time for deep spiritual reflection and devotion.
And what about Ganga Mahotsav? You marked a passage in one of your articles that really highlighted this festival.
Ah, yes. Ganga Mahotsav is a 5-day extravaganza held annually in November or December. To celebrate the river Ganges, it features classical music and dance performances, craft exhibitions, boat races, and, of course, the grand Ganga Aarti. It's a true feast for the senses.
Speaking of feasts, I'm ready to hear about the culinary delights that await us in Varanasi. What are some must-try dishes?
Get ready for a culinary adventure. First up, we have the iconic Banarasi Palian. It's a betel leaf preparation filled with areca nut spices and sometimes tobacco. It's said to aid digestion and freshen the breath, and is a staple of the local culture.
That's fascinating. I read that some varieties even contain silver or gold foil. It's not just a snack, it's an art form.
Exactly. And for a hearty breakfast, you can't go wrong with kachori jalebi. Kachori is a deep-fried pastry filled with lentils, while jalebi is a sweet, crispy treat made from fried batter soaked in sugar syrup. It's that perfect combination of sweet and savory.
Okay, you've officially made me hungry. What else should we try?
If you happen to be in Varanasi during winter, you must try malayo. It's a light, creamy dessert made from frothed milk, saffron, and nuts. It practically melts in your mouth, and no trip to Varanasi is complete without their famous lassi. It's a thick, creamy yogurt drink, often flavored with cardamom or rose water, and incredibly refreshing, especially on a hot day.
Now that we've got our culinary itinerary planned, where should we shop? You highlighted some specific markets and souvenirs in your research.
If you're looking for beautiful silk sarees, you've come to the right place. Banarasi sarees are world-renowned for their intricate designs and luxurious feel. They're a symbol of Indian craftsmanship and make an incredible souvenir.
I've always admired those sarees. They're like wearable works of art. Where's the best place to find them?
Kadolia Market is a must. You'll find everything from spices and textiles to religious items and handicrafts. It's a vibrant market where you can really soak up the local atmosphere and maybe even haggle for some bargains. And if you're specifically looking for religious souvenirs or traditional items, you should visit Vishwanath Gali, the market near the Kashi Vishwanath Temple.
All right, so we've covered the food, the markets, the festivals. Now let's get practical. How do we get to Varanasi and where do we stay? You mentioned various travel options in your notes.
Varanasi is well connected by rail, air, and road. For train travel, Varanasi Junction, or BSB, is the main railway station, with connections to major cities across India. There's also Mandwadi Railway Station, which handles some of the traffic. If you're flying in Lal Bahadur Shastri International Airport, also known as Varanasi Airport, has direct flights from major cities like Delhi, Mumbai, and Kolkata. And if you prefer road travel, Varanasi is well connected by national highways, with regular bus services and private taxis readily available.
So getting there shouldn't be a problem. But what about accommodation? What kind of options are there for different budgets?
Varanasi caters to every type of traveler. For those seeking luxury, there are options like the Taj Ganges Radisson Blu and Brij Rama Palace, all offering stunning river views and incredible amenities. If you're looking for something more budget-friendly, there are plenty of hotels and dhamshalas, like the Bhagwan Das Dharamshala and Sankat Motan Dharamshala, which provide simple but clean accommodation. And for a truly immersive experience, you might consider staying in one of the many guest houses along the Ganges. They offer a unique charm and often have rooftop terraces where you can enjoy the cool breeze and those breathtaking river views.
It's amazing how Varanasi seamlessly blends the ancient and the modern. You have centuries-old traditions and rituals existing alongside bustling markets, universities, and even luxury hotels. It truly is a one-of-a-kind destination.
It's captivating, isn't it? It's a city that constantly challenges your perceptions and leaves you wanting more.
Speaking of wanting more, I'm ready to wrap up our deep dive and see what final insights we can uncover about this incredible city. Wow, after exploring everything from ancient scriptures and travel blogs to the sounds of sitar and the tastes of Banarasi Pidan, it's clear that Varanasi is so much more than just a travel destination.
It really is an experience that touches your soul. We've covered the history, spirituality, culture, and even the food. And it's remarkable how Varanasi has retained its essence through centuries of change.
You're right. It's a city that embraces the ancient and the modern, the sacred and the secular, the chaotic and the serene. It's almost as if this city holds space for every single aspect of human existence, from the joys of celebration to the sorrows of loss, and somehow it all seems to coexist in perfect harmony.
That's the beauty of Varanasi. It's a place that compels you to confront life's big questions about faith, purpose, and our place in the universe. It challenges you to look inward and connect with something larger than yourself.
You've definitely sparked a desire in me to experience it all firsthand. But for now, let's try to summarize what we've uncovered in this deep dive. What key takeaways do you think are most important for our listener?
I think the most important takeaway is that Varanasi holds immense spiritual significance for Hindus, Buddhists, and Jains. It's a place where people come to seek liberation, to connect with the divine, and to perform rituals that have been passed down through generations.
And we can't forget its incredible cultural vibrancy. From the world-renowned classical music and dance traditions to the delicious cuisine and bustling markets.
Absolutely. And of course, we have to acknowledge its historical importance. As one of the oldest continuously inhabited cities in the world, Varanasi has witnessed so much: the rise and fall of empires, the birth of religions, and the very evolution of Indian thought and culture.
It really is a microcosm of India itself, a place where the past, present, and future seem to converge. So what does this all mean for someone who may never have the chance to visit Varanasi? Why should they care?
Because Varanasi reminds us of the power of belief, the enduring nature of human spirituality, and the beauty of cultural diversity. It's a place that challenges us to expand our understanding of the world and appreciate the interconnectedness of all things.
I love that. We've definitely given our listener a comprehensive overview, but I always feel like there's so much more to discover with Varanasi.
Without a doubt, this deep dive is just a starting point. I hope it inspires you to explore further, to delve deeper into the rich tapestry of Varanasi's history, spirituality, and culture.
And who knows, maybe one day you'll even get to experience the magic of this city for yourself.
I have no doubt you'd be captivated by its unique charm.
Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a thought-provoking question. We've talked about how Varanasi is a crossroads of different faiths, each with its own unique perspective on the city's significance.
Yes. It's incredible how Hinduism, Buddhism, and Jainism have coexisted for centuries in Varanasi, each influencing and shaping the other.
Exactly. So here's the question. Knowing what you now know about Varanasi's unique position at the crossroads of different faiths, how do you think the city has influenced the evolution of religious thought in India?
That's a fascinating question. I encourage you to reflect on everything we've discussed and draw your own conclusions.
Well said. And on that note, we've reached the end of our deep dive into Varanasi. I hope you've enjoyed the journey as much as we have. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.